I'm going to show you this really cool rope trick. It's not like a magic trick in the traditional sense, but it actually can work magic. At least that's what my clients have told me. It's about relationships, the relationships in getting work done, and also the relationships that we care about so much. Here's the problem that happens so often and that we hold on to in really significant ways, is that people let us down. We think we've got an agreement and we find out that we're left holding a rope and there's nobody on the other end of it. Somebody has let us down, sometimes to the point where we don't want to work with them, we don't want to deal with them, we don't want to talk with them. There are 3 common pitfalls, and I want to suggest to you that this rope trick is a way to avoid them. Here's part number 1. Make sure that you actually have an agreement. In other words, you've got one end of the rope. For instance, on Sunday night, you say to your husband, "Can you pick up the kids on Wednesday?" You've got to make sure that he says yes, clearly, and he's got the other end of that rope so that you don't get that call on Wednesday evening from the preschool that says, "Hey, your kid is still here." How does that happen? Well, sometimes you say, "Hey, honey, can you pick up the kids on Wednesday?" He says, "Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem." It's just not clear. You're depending on him. He might have the other end of the rope. That's the second problem, and the solution to it is that sometimes we're so unclear. Either there's so much slack in the rope that when we pull on it, we don't get anything. So for instance, we say to a staff person, "Will you have it for me next week?" And really what we mean is Monday. But on Monday, when we pull, there's nothing there because they think they've got until Friday. Or we think that we're going to get a PowerPoint presentation for them. But we've been so confused about what we want that the thing is a gnarly knot and we have to pull all of this confusion out of it. Boy, do our kids need clarity, huh? We say to them, "Okay, you can play video games, but first you do your homework." And then on Saturday we get up and say, "What are you doing on the video game? Is your homework done?" And they say, "Well, no." And they've always got a reason. "Well, you never said it was about the weekend." So what's the trick here in getting the slack out of the rope and getting the twists out of the rope is simply ask them, what is it that you're going to do? And get them to be very clear about it. With a staff person, there's no reason you can't ask them to clarify or repeat back to you. With a child, a student, no reason you can't ask for them to tell you exactly what they're going to do. So you know that they've got it and it's taught. Now the third thing is a really important one, and that I call WIFM, or what's in it for me. So we have an agreement, but over time there's got to be a reason for them to pick up that rope. I can ask them, "Do you have it? Do you have my back?" But there's got to be a reason. And so what's so important is for children, for instance, to tell them why that homework matters, that it's going to help them in school. Or sometimes that if they don't do it, they simply won't be able to play that video game or they won't be able to go to that dance. But they've got to have some stake in it. Likewise, in our work situations or with our spouse, they've got to know, well, there's a reason to hold on to the rope. She's got my back over here because she knows that when she pulls, I've got her back too. When she needs time or she needs me to cover for her, I'll be there. So there's got to be a little bit of WIFM. So the 3 things again, WIFM. Make sure that they've got a reason to do it and that it's clear. Number 2, get the slack out of the rope. Be very, very clear about what it is you've agreed to. And number 3, and most fundamental, make sure you have an agreement. Not a wish, not a hope, not a prayer, not a could you do it maybe, but actually a commitment on their part that you know they've got the rope as much as you depend on them to have the rope so that you can lead with your best self.